Going from a league that has a 9-game conference schedule to one that's probably going to have a 7-game conference schedule. You're someone that likes to play those top non-conference games. Was that something that you looked into? Was that a little bit of extra flexibility in the schedule?
Yeah, actually, the Big East, when I first came to WVU, we played 11 conference games. And 2012 was actually going to be the first year that we were going down to 8 conference games. Reason being the impact on the RPI. Your non-conference carries a stronger weight against the RPI than playing a conference schedule. So the league in itself, obviously, the Big East was a very, very good league, but at 16 teams deep, not everybody was at the same level of competitiveness. So the decision was made from that standpoint to reduce. So going from what would have been an 8-game league schedule to a 7-game league schedule is really indifferent. We've never depended on the conference to be our bid to the NCAA. We don't depend on having to win a conference championship to be our bid into the NCAA. It's about what we do in our entire body of work, and like you mentioned, our non-conference schedule, which has always been a top 15, top 20 non-conference schedule since I've been at WVU, and this year is no different than any other. We were already loaded up from a non-conference perspective, so we've had to add a few more games. We've had to do a little bit of schedule juggling and manipulating to be able to make this thing work, but we're pretty close to being able to having our 2012 schedule in place here in the next few weeks.
Was there ever serious consideration of the independent route?
There was. Our schedule had actually been done. It was completed before, maybe even before the end of 2011 calendar year was finished, and so there was some consideration into that. I think some of the issues that we encountered was in particular what the Big East was going to do in regards to bringing in another sport. The talk was about football, but there was also some hang-ups on whether or not another Olympic sport team would be added. At the end of the day, what we didn't want to do was be left with a situation where we kept some play dates with some Big East institutions, and then the next thing we know is that we get a phone call saying that date is gone because they needed the Big East added an all-sports school. So we couldn't risk that, not knowing when that would happen, so we needed to move forward. At the end of the day, the independent status was just another option. I think from our perspective, being in a league where we knew we were going to have a schedule put together from literally just a game standpoint, from 7 games, I felt more comfortable having that in place than not knowing whether or not we were going to make the independent status role because of the conference looking at making some moves still.
Is there any sort of like, let's say in 2 years the Big 12 has soccer, can you go, or are you bound by like 3 or 4 years?
We made a 4-year commitment to the MAC. And that's, I think, a very reasonable commitment in the sense that gives us a chance to do 2 home and 2 away series against MAC opponents, and there's some symmetry to that. So my sense is that it'll take at least that long, if not longer, for folks to even look at men's soccer in the Big 12. But we made a 4-year commitment to the MAC.
It's. Like I said, we've never depended on the conference for the automatic bid. It's a nice nugget to have at the end of the year if you're desperate. But at the end of the day, if you've done your job, you're not sitting there on Monday wondering whether or not you're going to be in the tournament.
Marlon, going back to the Big East, you've had probably some rivalries. I would think that the years there. Is the relationship strong enough you could still play them in the future, or is that something maybe in a year or 2 you'll talk about?
I think so. We tried to do a little bit of creative scheduling this year in order to keep some of those rivalries going. We'd like to continue to play UConn. We'd like to continue to play Notre Dame, and not just because we've been ultra successful against those 2 teams, but because they're good programs. South Florida is one that we're hoping to keep as well. But there's a number of Big East institutions that we would like to keep playing. Right now, we're just trying to get 2012 piece together before we can, really get to those guys.